Okay, let's start. Guys, can you see the screen? Rahman, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. So we talked yesterday and the day before about the Native Americans' oral tradition in telling stories. And we said that this is the first form of American literature. So American literature started before the Europeans immigrated to America. As we said before, thousands of Native Americans, or as they called them later, Indians, used to tell stories generation after generation. And these stories were not committed to paper, were not written on paper. Grandparents used to gather the family and tell them the stories, and these stories taught them the lessons they wanted to instill in them. One of these stories, and we said that we are going to study 3 stories that were told, and the 3 of them are related to nature. You know, Native Americans valued nature, respected nature, were very related to nature, okay? The title of the first story is The Earth on Turtle's Back. The Earth on Turtle's Back. And we said the people who told these things or this story were called the Onondaga, as we said yesterday, if you remember. I want to maximize this a little bit. The Onondaga in the northeast woodlands, they retold, or this story was retold by Michael Kadutu and Joseph Brokaw. Background, Native Americans have great respect for the natural world. We say this again and again. Native Americans are valued, respected, sometimes worshipped the natural world. They believe that each living thing possesses a unique power. Each living thing in this nature, any insect, any bird, any animal, has or possesses a unique power that sustains it and affects others, that keeps it alive and affects others in a way or another. This power is part of a greater power, which many Native American cultures recognize as a great spirit. About all the little creatures, every single little creature has a specific power that sustains it and affects others. And those powers, when they are gathered together, they form something called a great spirit, which is the source of all life. Again, those people were pagans. They were not Muslims, Christians, or Jews. They didn't have a holy book like the Bible or the Torah or the Quran. They used to write their memories or draw their memories on the hides of some animals or the leather of animals and on what is called wampums, if you remember this word, belts, belts made of maybe cloth or fabric. And on these belts, there were pictures that symbolized the events, the important events. These beliefs are reflected in Native American myths, such as the stories that follow. We have 3 stories. The first one is The Earth on Turtle's Back. Again, we say this again. Native Americans respected nature very much, and they thought that every single creature, the smallest insect in this world, has its own power that sustains its life or keeps it alive, and at the same time it affects the others. And when we add these powers up, we get something called a great spirit, which controls the world, which is the source of all life. These beliefs are reflected in their stories and their literature, as we will see. Before this earth existed, there was only water. This is the first story. The earth on a turtle's back. The story says, before this earth existed, there was only water, according to the story. It stretched as far as one could see, only water. The whole world was just water. And in that water, there were birds and animals swimming around. Just water all around, no land at all. And in this water, there were birds and animals swimming around. Far above, in the clouds, high in the sky, there was a skyland, land, but in the sky, not here on earth. The skyland. In that skyland, there was a great and beautiful tree. Let's say this part again. Earth was just water with birds flying above and animals swimming in. And high in the sky, in the clouds, there was skyland. And in this skyland, there was a great and beautiful tree. Okay. It had 4 white roots. This tree had 4 white roots, which stretched to each of the sacred directions. Here, the sacred directions means the north, the south, the east, and the west. The cardinal directions, the 4 cardinal directions. But again, there was no land on earth. It was just water with animals swimming and flying. And in the sky, there was skyland in which there was a beautiful tree. This tree had 4 white, they focus on the color, pay attention. It had 4 white roots, which stretched to each of the sacred directions, one to the east, one to the west, one to the north, one to the south. And from its branches, all kinds of fruits and flowers grew. So the tree, this beautiful tree in the skyland, had 4 roots, each root 4 white roots. Each root stretched in one of the 4 directions, and from its branches, all kinds of fruits and flowers grew from one tree. All kinds of fruits from one tree grew from one tree, and all kinds of flowers. There was an ancient chief in the skyland. A chief is like a head of the tribe, a head, an important person. There was an ancient chief in the skyland. His young wife was expecting a child. The next day, she told her husband the story. And one night, she dreamed that she saw the great tree uprooted. You know, when you uproot a tree, you pull it out. This is in the wife of the chief's or wife of the chief's dream. The next day, she told her husband the story. But again, I explain word by word for you to understand. There was a tree in the skyland with 4 white roots stretching in the 4 cardinal directions, and the branches carried all kinds of fruits and flowers. And there was an ancient chief in the skyland, and his young wife was expecting a child. She was pregnant, and one night she had a dream in which she saw the great tree uprooted. The next day, she told her husband the story. He nodded as she finished telling the story. You know, when you nod your head, like when I say yes, yes, nod your head up and down. My wife, he said, I am sad that you had this dream. It is clearly a dream of great power, and as is our way, when one has such a powerful dream, we must do all we can to make it true. So he said to his wife, this is a strong dream, and when we have such strong dreams, we must try or do our best to make it come true. The great tree must be uprooted, he said. The great tree must be uprooted. Then the ancient chief called the young men together and told them that they must pull up the tree, uproot the tree, pull it up. But the roots of the tree were so deep, the roots were so deep in the ground of this land, so strong, that they could not budge it, they could not pull it. At last, the ancient chief himself came to the tree. He wrapped his arms around the tree, bent his knees, and strained. At last, with one great effort, he uprooted the tree and placed it on its side. Again, the wife of the chief had a dream in which she saw the beautiful tree uprooted. He said, we must do what you saw in the dream. He asked some young men to budge it or pull it, but they couldn't. He himself uprooted it and put it on its side. Where the tree's roots had gone deep into the skyland, there was now a big hole. So the roots are not in the ground anymore. They went in the sky land in different directions, and it made a big hole, or the roots made a big hole. The wife of the chief came close, and she came nearer and nearer. She approached the hole and leaned over to look down, because the roots of the tree made a big hole. She looked down through this hole, grasping the tip of one of the great tree's branches to steady her. She caught, or she hanged herself to one of the branches to steady her. It seemed as if she saw something down there, far below, glittering like water. Of course, she saw earth with its water. She leaned. When you lean, you lean forward, out further to look, and as she leaned, she lost her balance and fell into the hole. So she fell from sky to earth through the hole. Which hole? The hole that was made by the roots of the tree. Which tree? The beautiful, the giant tree, the beautiful tree that was in the skyland. What happened to this tree? It was uprooted. Why? Because the wife of the chief had a dream that it was uprooted. And he said, your dream must be, or we must achieve what you saw in your dream. Her grasp slipped off the tip of the branch, leaving her with only a handful of seeds as she fell. While she was holding to the branch, she took with her, while she was falling, some seeds from these branches, down, 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 and she fell down to earth through the hole. Far below in the waters, she fell in the waters. Which waters? Again, earth was just waters at that time. Some of the birds and animals looked up while she was falling. Something is falling towards us from the sky, they said one of the birds. We must do something to help her, said another. Then two swans flew up. You know, a swan is a big bird. They caught the woman from the sky between their wide wings. Slowly, they began to bring her down toward the water, but they helped her come down or fall peacefully and safely, where the birds and animals were watching. She is not like us, said one of the animals. Look, she doesn't have webbed feet like the duck. I don't think she can live in the water. What shall we do then? Said another of the water animals. I know, said one of the water birds, I have heard that there is earth far below the waters. Of course, these waters must have something like the seabed. The bottom of this sea or these waters must have a bottom. If we dive down and bring up earth, we can dive down, the animal said, and bring up some earth for her to live on. Then she will have a place to stand. So the birds and animals decided that someone would have to bring up earth. One by one, they tried. They sent, for example, the whale, and then the whale, a shark, and then another animal, and so on. The duck dove first. The duck went down underwater. Why? To go to the seabed. To do what? To bring some earth. Why? For the wife of the chief who fell from the sky because of to live on. Some say he swam down and down. Who's he? The duck. He swam down and down, far beneath the surface. He went down and down and down, but could not reach the bottom and floated back up. He couldn't find earth. He couldn't reach the bottom. Then the beaver tried. First, the duck tried. Then the beaver tried. He went even deeper, so deep that it all was dark, but he could not reach the bottom either. The loon, another animal, tried swimming with his strong wings. He was gone a long time, but he too failed to bring up earth. So we have three animals so far who dived down or dove down. Both are correct, by the way. Dive, dove, or dive, to bring up earth. Soon, it seemed that all had tried and all had failed. What can we do then? A small voice spoke, I will bring up earth or die trying. This creature insists on bringing up earth or die trying to do so. They looked to see who it was. It was the tiny muskrat. She dove down and swam and swam. She was not as strong or as swift as the others, but she was determined. When you have a goal you want to achieve, you must be determined. You know your goal, and she vowed that she would do her best. She would bring up earth or die. She went so deep that it was all dark, like the beaver, and still she swam deeper. Like the loon, she swam too deep, so deep that her lungs felt ready to burst. You know, under water pressure, your lungs can burst. But she swam deeper still. At last, just as she was becoming unconscious, because of the water pressure on her body, she reached out one small paw and grasped at the bottom. She reached out one of her small paws. You know, any animal or any bird has a paw, like the paws of the lion or the tiger, and grasped at the bottom of the sea, barely touching it. Almost touching it before she floated up, almost dead. When the other animals saw her break the surface, they thought she had failed. Then they saw her right paw was held tightly shut. So in her right, let's say right paw, right hand, she got some earth quickly before she would die, and went up to the surface of the water. She has the earth in her paw. She could get some earth, some dust from the bottom of the sea for the woman of the chief, for the wife of the chief to live on. They said, now, where can we put it? I could get the earth. Where can we put it, it's all water. Place it on my back, said a deep voice. This is animal number 5. It was the great turtle. The great turtle, and this is the title of the story, Earth on a Turtle's Back, or the Earth on a Turtle's Back. Put it on my back, said the great turtle who had come up from the depths. They brought the muskrat over to the great turtle and placed her paw against his back. To this day, there are marks at the back of the turtle's shell, which were made by the muskrat's paw. The tiny bit of earth, this little dust, or this little amount of dust, fell on the back of the turtle. Almost immediately, it began to grow larger and larger and larger until it became the whole world. That's crazy. Okay, then the 2 swans, remember them? The first birds who helped the woman fall safely from the sky. Then the 2 swans brought the sky woman down. They were still carrying her. They must have waited a lot. She stepped onto the new earth, which started from the back of the great turtle, and opened her hand. This is the woman. She landed or stepped onto the new earth and opened her hand. Remember what was in her hand? What were in her hand? Some seeds from the tree, which is in the skyland. Okay, letting the seeds fall onto the bare soil, the free soil. Okay, from those seeds, the trees and the grass sprang up. Life on earth had begun. And this is the first origin myth. Remember the expression we said yesterday? This is one of the origin myths we are going to study. An origin myth, if you remember, is a story which tells us how life began. It's here. An origin myth is a traditional story that explains how life began, and it explains another thing. What's it? Often origin myths also explain how a feature of the world was formed or a specific social custom began. And I told you about the social custom of eating duck on the first day of Ramadan in Port Said. I myself, I'm curious. I want to know how this social custom began here in Port Said. Okay, who was the first one who did this, and why did the other people imitate him or her? And the whole city now, or the whole governorate of Port Said, do this on the first day of Ramadan. So there must be some origin myths for this. There must be a story behind this. Okay, this is an origin myth. This is one of the origin myths. We have 3, as I said, which is entitled "The Earth on Turtle's Back." I think we have some questions here. So this is in front of you, the great turtle's back, and these lines on its back were caused because the muskrat marked the turtle's back while putting the earth she brought from underwater on the turtle's back. Okay, we have some questions here. How do the opening words of this story identify it as an origin myth? How do the opening words of this story identify it as an origin myth? I think these were the first words of the story here. I need your answers, please. Put your hand up. From these lines or from these words, how do you know that this is an origin myth? Or how do you know that you are going to read an origin myth from this introduction? Put your hands up, please, if you know the answer, or if you want to answer. Nobody wants to answer, so I'll choose some people to answer. Okay, Mr. Ryan, can you unmute yourself, please, and answer the question? Ryan, can you hear me? Ryan? Ryan is not there. Okay, I'll go to Hassan Ruhayyim. Hassan? Hassan Ruhayyim, are you there? If you can hear me, please put up your hands. If you can hear me, if you are in the room. Those guys who are in the room, please put up your hands. 1, 2, 3. 3 people only. 4. I have Abdurrahman Bughdadi, Yusuf Awad, Yasin, Ryan, Tadrus, Yahya, Haya, Hassan Gouda. About 9 people. Okay, I have a simple question. Thank you very much. I have a very simple question. From the first words, from these words, how can you tell that this is an origin myth? Again, what's an origin myth? A story that tells us how life began. Keep your hand up if you want to answer, please, and put your hand down if you don't want to answer.
Mr. What is the question?
The question again?
Oh, please.
Okay. You have it in front of you here. Origin myths. How do the opening words of this story identify it as an origin myth? How do you know from the opening words that it is an origin myth? And I explained again and again what an origin myth is. Where are these opening words? These words here, this part. Well,
because they are saying before the earth existed.
What's your name, please?
Tadros.
Tadros, go ahead, Tadros.
Before the earth existed?
Yes.
Yes.
From these words, you know that it's an origin story, right? Or an origin myth. Perfect. Yes, just these words before this earth existed. We know that the storyteller will tell us how life or how the earth on which we live existed. There was only water, and if you complete, you'll find it very easy. Okay, thank you, Tadros.
Welcome.
We have another question here, if you can see it. Why might characters in creation myths have generic names like the duck or the beaver? Why do you think? Why might, your opinion, just your opinion, characters in creation myths have general names? We don't have a specific name. We say the duck and the beaver, just one sample of the animal. Your opinion, please. I'll take Hassan Gouda. Hassan, do you want to answer?
اللي هو ليه عندهم generic names?
Yes, this question again. Why do you think? Why might characters in creation myths have generic names like the duck or the beaver? We don't have a specific name for this duck or a specific name for this beaver, just the name of the whole family of this animal or this bird. Any answer, your opinion, Hassan?
عشان أعرفش.
Speak in English, please. No problem. Yusuf Awad wants to answer. No problem. Yusuf Awad, do you want to answer?
Because it was made before the creation, so there were no names for people.
Maybe there was just one animal of each type or each species, maybe, right? Now the question, why may or might, we are not sure. Thank you, Yusuf. Any other answer? Tadrus is raising his hand. Do you want to answer, Tadrus? I have Yasin Saeed. Yasin?
To make it simple to understand.
To make it easy, and I can't hear you well. Yes. To make it easy for
to
us.
make it, yes, to know which type of animal.
Maybe to
Without
know.
complication.
Okay. Maybe to make it easy, as long as, because I can't hear you well, to make it easy for us readers to understand. Maybe. Okay. Any other answer? Right. Let's move down. We have some questions here. If you had been the ancient chief, remember the ancient chief? If you had been this person, would you have pulled up the great tree? Why and why not? A very easy question, and they need your opinion, just your opinion. If you were, or if you had been this ancient chief, would you have pulled up, uprooted the great tree? If your answer is yes, why? No, why not? I expect that you all will put up your hands because it's an easy question. This is your opinion. If you are following us, I have Hassan Gouda only. No one else wants to answer. Is it that difficult? Hassan put his hand down. I'll choose people. I'll have Haya. Haya, can you answer this question?
I don't know what it means.
You don't know what?
What does it mean?
If you were you following from the beginning with us, Haya?
Yes.
If you had been the ancient chief, you know, we talked about an ancient chief whose wife was pregnant and she had a dream, and she told him the dream, and he decided in this dream, she saw that the great tree in the skyland was uprooted or pulled up, and he decided to pull up the tree according to the dream. If you were in his place, would you pull up the great tree? Yes. No. Why? No. Why not?
I would not trust a dream.
I would not. Raise your voice, please.
Follow the dream.
Okay, you would not try to make the dream come true. Okay, thank you very much. No problem. She would not follow a dream. Any answer? Any other answer? Okay, I'll take Ganna Gouda. I'm not sure where Ganna went. We don't have some people's names are in the room, but I'm not sure why they are not here. Okay, Yasmin Isa'a, you have another opinion? Yasmin, unmute yourself, please. Yasmin? Looks like Yasmin is not here. Guys, don't log in, please, unless you are in the room. If you want to leave, please leave the room. Don't leave your mobiles or accounts in the room the time you are doing anything else. Thank you very much, because this happens every time. Layan Matar? Layan, are you there? Hala Sharif? Layan is not there. Hala Sharif? Hala? Hala Sharif?
Yes, Mister.
Can you answer this question? Do you have an opinion?
Which question?
This means you were not following up Hala, right? Because I read the question again and again. The question is, if you had been the ancient chief, do you know the ancient chief?
Yes.
Okay, would you have pulled up the great tree? If your answer is yes, why? If it's no, why not? This is your opinion.
No.
You wouldn't pull it up. Why not?
I don't know.
Okay, looks like most of you guys are not following up. It's an easy question. I just need your opinion about something I explained again and again. Please make sure you are paying attention. You are following up with me in the session. Thank you very much. I'll end the session. Okay, any question before I end the session?
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,